Now, if you manage to move to Canada and leave your family behind, right? Let's assume that you move to Canada this year and you drop your family and wife behind, maybe because of financial constraints or lack of finances, or while you are in Canada for about 6 months, you now decide that your family should come into Canada and join you. Remember, you are married already. Now, what you need to do is you have to go back to IRCC and create a new GC key account, or let's say create a new account. The reason why you are creating a new account is because your wife cannot, or your spouse or your family cannot use your own account. Remember, you are already in there. They cannot use the account you created, right? Yes, that's what I mean. So they need a new account. The application process is different when you are moving alongside your spouse and when you are already in Canada. So when you create a new application, then you have to now answer the details. Who is the applicant? You put in the details of the applicant, and of course, you go now to the documentation site. Remember, most of the work will be done by the applicant who is in Canada. And I'm going to be giving you a list of some of the documents that you need to supply to IRCC in case you want to apply for your spouse who is back home in Nigeria or Ghana or Cameroon or anywhere around the world. The very first document is for you who is in Canada. These are the documents you need to supply. First, if you have a valid work permit, of course, it's not like if you have a valid work permit, you need to show your valid work permit. Remember, your valid study permit, not work permit. I beg your pardon. Your valid study permit. Remember, you are a student in Canada. This is in the case when you are a student. Sorry, your valid work permit in case you are a worker. If you are a student, you need to show a valid study permit. So before you even do this application, if your permit expires, you need to renew it in order to bring in your family. It is very, very important. Another document you need, I'm also checking my jotter because there are a lot I want to mention here. Please make sure you are also legal in there and avoid crime, because if you commit the least error, you are not going to bring in your family. I know of somebody, not like I know someone who lives in Canada for about 13 years and was deported. Then when he tried getting into the USA, she was equally rejected. And when she tried again going on a visitor's visa, she was not allowed entry into Canada. So you have to be careful. Those of us who always use fake documents, please don't use it when it comes to this particular stage, okay? Now, you need an enrollment letter from the university. Remember, when you get admissions and move to Canada, you have to register to the school, then add some money, because what you paid was a deposit to hold your admissions, your position. Now, when you enter into Canada, you need to make a deposit, tuition deposit again, all right, then to build in, or let me say, to apply for courses and start studies. Now, during that process, you are going to get what is called an enrollment letter. This enrollment letter, you have to now apply. You need to add it to the documents you are going to use to apply for your spouse's open work permit. You are in Canada now, your spouse is outside, maybe in Nigeria. These are the documents you are using. The enrollment letter. Then if you have what we call the student identity card or the student ID, also add it. It's going to make a lot of sense, all right? Remember, I have always said, if you are applying for a student permit, or let me say anything related to IRCC, you are not going to be there to talk to them with your mouth, all right? All these things are done online. So you need to put everything into consideration on paper, everything, and make it look so good. All right. Do not say, I forgot this. No, they don't know I forgot. Now, another thing you need, if you have a part-time job, of course, international students do work 20 hours per week in Canada. So if you have a part-time job and you have pictures of it, of course, show the pictures. If you have a document that you sign to start the job, of course, you need to show that. It's very, very important for you to show that you have a job, at least a part-time job. Now, the bank statement, you as the applicant, you may not need the bank statement. Your spouse who is already in Canada, he or she may supply the bank statement, or she may supply a bank statement so that it will help. But it doesn't mean that he is the only one who can give you the bank statement. Even you who is outside of Canada can equally supply a bank statement. But whosoever is in position of better funds or maybe better bank accounts should also supply the bank statement. It is very necessary, all right? So it doesn't there is no limitation on who is going to give the bank statement. No, you can provide yours, or he provides his own, or if he's providing and you have your own, also add it to the bank statement. I hope you understand. Now, there is also something called letter of invitation. Who is going to write the letter of invitation? It is coming from your spouse who is already in Canada. Your spouse is going to write the letter of invitation and state that he is the one inviting you, or state that why he is inviting you to Canada. Of course, you can write, all right? You can also write a letter. This letter is called a letter of explanation, but I don't think in this case, I will explain anyway, so don't worry yourself. But your husband is the one to write the invitation letter. Then equally, where he is staying, you remember he have to be legal here. Where he is staying, proof of accommodation or maybe address, he should equally add the address to the application. It is very, very important that you add your address to the application, or you or him, all right? Then letter of explanation is from the applicant who is applying for this visa, not the spouse in Canada. The applicant who is outside, because even if your spouse is filling the application on the internet on your behalf, you are the one who is the applicant, not the person filling the application from Canada. I hope you get it. So the letter of explanation is going to come from the applicant. In this letter of explanation now, you need to talk about who you are going to visit, all right? You need to talk about where is he studying. Of course, you need to explain a lot. Where he is studying his school, all right? And of course, state that he is your husband. Because in this case, I think you also need to add birth certificates to show further strength to the application. And of course, if you guys have kids, you explain that. How long have you guys been married? You need to explain all of that. It is very, very important. Then where you guys met as a spouse, maybe you just explain all these details so that IRCC or the visa officer can understand. You explain all of this. It is also great. And why you want to visit your husband or your wife, or why you want to visit your spouse, it is also very important. If you are moving with kids, of course, you have to indicate, all right? I think these kids are going to get something called a visitor's visa if they are below 18 years, something like that. So you need to explain all these details. They are very, very important because the visa officer needs to know your intention of moving, all right? Even if your husband or your wife draft the letter of explanation for you, it doesn't really matter. All you need to know is you need to put these things into consideration, all right? Because a better application is the best thing you can ever do for yourself. Now, for those who are going to be, I will talk about the other steps, all right? And I will tell you, let me just talk about those that are going to be applying for, let me say those that are going to be applying for a visa from outside of Canada, which is called a visitor's visa. In case your spouse is already in Canada and you want to apply for a visitor's visa to go meet him, there is something you are going to do at the border between Canada and USA. After you move into Canada, you are going to do what is called flag polling. Flag polling is basically something you go to the border, you enter the United States, you come out. Of course, immigration is going to be in charge of that. You don't need to worry yourself about that. Then they will ask you, why are you here? You will say you came as a visitor, of course, to visit who? Your spouse. Where does he live? All those things, you are going to answer them. It is not a big deal, all right? It's not a crime. But all you need is the visitor's visa. When you go in, your spouse will then take you, or you go to the border, you can then change your visitor's visa to a spousal's open work permit at the border, all right? You are only going to do it at the border. Trust me, they are not going to allow you, all right? But there is a chance for you to do it. You enter the USA. I think you have to go into the US. Then the immigration, they will do some stamping, then send you back into Canada. Then there are offices that are going to guide you to do what is called the process of changing your visitor's visa to a spousal's open work permit. This process only happens or works only with people who are actually married and whose spouse are already in Canada, all right? I hope you understand, because I don't want a situation where someone will come and be like, Milton, you mentioned this. Can I do it? I and my spouse, we are staying in Nigeria. No, if you are in Africa or anywhere around the world, you cannot do this process. In fact, your spouse must be in Canada. Then for you to get the visitor's visa, go in there, then you go to the border to change it. They can change it for you, all right, for you to work. And this time you are not going to, it's not going to be an employer specific work permit. It's a spouse's open work permit, which means you can work for any employer anywhere around Canada. I hope you understand this principle. Till we meet again in another one. If you have a problem, please drop it down there in the comment section. Yes, if you want a one-on-one consultation with me, one-on-one with me, check the links down there. I'm going to guide you through the call, 15 minutes or 30 minutes or whichever one you need. And if you need an admissions offer anywhere, just let me know. My email is down there. Okay, now I know you should be asking yourself, can I actually work in TRNC and sponsor myself? Well, with that, I am going to tell you categorically clear now that you cannot work in TRNC as an international student and, of course, sponsor yourself. Please, this is why a lot of people don't actually know where TRNC is. If you didn't know what TRNC is, TRNC means Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. Where is the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus? This is an island nation located in the Mediterranean Sea, somewhere south of Turkey and east of Greece. Cyprus was one, but later on some things happened and the split came, where we have now North Cyprus and South Cyprus, and TRNC is North Cyprus. Now, if you are going to North Cyprus as an international student, if you have been watching me on my YouTube channel for over like maybe 2 years now, you should already know that I studied in North Cyprus, sometimes back in 2016, 2018. But I'm here today to tell you that you cannot work in North Cyprus and sponsor yourself. The reason is because in North Cyprus, there are few or no jobs. That is point number one. And when you get these jobs, you are going to be paid little money. Not just being paid little money, but the currency in North Cyprus is called Turkish lira. This is the same currency that you will be paid when you work with whosoever in North Cyprus. And when you are about to pay your tuition in North Cyprus, you are going to be using euros or dollars. It depends on you, but if you give euros, they will still use the exchange rate and convert it, and it will drop drastically. So know that you cannot work in North Cyprus and pay your tuition fee. The problem here is you earn probably few money, or let me say few currency, or a smaller figure. Let me just put it this way: a smaller figure within 1 month. Then you have to pay your tuition in euros, and before you convert the Turkish lira to euros, you need ×6 of the money you are converting. Let's assume that you want to convert maybe 100 Turkish lira to euros. Just during that conversion, you lose around 6 Turkish lira. You understand? So this is how the process is, and a lot of international students don't know. I know some people will lie to you that if you go to North Cyprus, you are going to study and take care of yourself. My dear friend, it is not true. Yes, I'm telling you facts. Just getting a job in North Cyprus is one big issue. Finally, after getting the job, to keep the job is one big issue. Another big issue, I beg your pardon. Then, before you collect the salary to pay your tuition fee, imagine earning maybe 4,000 Turkish lira a month. Then your tuition fee for that month is 600 euros. How do you intend to pay that? It's so small, you understand? So please, make sure you put things into consideration and try to write a balance, so that at the end of the day, you will know what to do. I always, even on my own part, encourage international students not to go to North Cyprus except you have a sponsor. So please take this into consideration, and see you again. Before you go, please share this video to one person and like the video as well. Thank you so much. Bye.